I'm gonna do things a little different with this episode of my podcast, Men's Corner. Um, I want to talk about grace. God gives us grace, and everything that we do, He gives us grace. Um, but the crazy thing about it, as people and say we know God, we love God, we trust God, we believe God, we never extend that same grace to people that been extended to us. Like, listen, we human beings, right? So we gonna make mistakes a lot. Some of us grew up in homes with both parents. Some of us didn't. Some of us, our daddy was in and out of our lives. Some was our dad was present. Some of our parents was married. Some of our parents weren't married. So sometimes, and I can speak for men, we learn this thing about love, our emotions, treating a woman, raising kids. We do a lot of that by trial and error because we didn't have a real example to show us how a man should love a woman, how a man should treat his woman, how you should be a father. So a lot of the things that we inherit, and I can speak for myself, is through trial and error, through the word of God, seeing, different examples, and just, learning on a whim. My dad, I love my dad, rest his soul, but my dad didn't, and he was married to my mom, but he never presented or showed none of my brothers how it is to be faithful, how it is, to love a woman and stuff like that. My dad, he was a whole player, however you want to say it. My dad was very attractive. He was very smooth, bow-legged cowboy boots, so it was never an issue for him to get, women in his younger days. And, his son took on a lot of those traits. And so we didn't see a great example of, marriage, faithful, stuff like that. So sometimes as men, we fumble good women, just like, good women fumble good men. We don't know how to express our emotions sometimes. We think that long as I'm providing and I'm cutting the check, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do for a man. And a lot of time we don't know how to articulate our feelings. A woman might express to us, but we don't know how to express to them. We might say, I love you, and that's the end of it. And sometimes we struggle. And most men, we deal with a lot of trauma, especially speaking for black men. But the thing about it is, it seems like we never is afforded the same grace as the others. You know what I'm saying? The other coaches and stuff. We and one thing about us is it takes a while for a man to open up. And when a man truly open up and truly be vulnerable to a woman, and that woman, and we get in a disagreement, and that woman weaponize our trauma against us, what we open up and told you, that's the fear, and that what caused men to not open up at all. And you know what I'm saying? And it is more, when you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, you taught to be a man. We don't cry, we don't show emotions, and all that type of stuff. So it's programmed in us, and we have evolved over the years, and we have made great strides as men. But at the same time, it's still a learning process for us, and this is vice versa. I think that, and like women didn't see an example how to be a wife and a housewife, and and how to build up their husband and how to build up their man. And I'm not talking about building up as finances and all. I'm talking about building up as encouraging and calling them king, and you can do it, and baby, we'll get through this. And I see your effort, I see your drive, I see your press. I really appreciate you. I thank God for you. I see how you go out your way, and sometimes you'll go without for us to have. That's what I mean when I talk about building up a man. And sometimes women and men both in our culture, we don't afford each other grace. I know I made a lot of mistakes. There's some things in my marriage I could have did better. Infidelity, I didn't step out or nothing like that. But there's some things that I could have did better, but and vice versa on her end. But we was 23 and 20 when we got married. I don't believe we was ready, but we didn't have those people telling us, "No, I want y'all to chill, wait," stuff like that. And then you had other forces, you got to get married, stuff like that. So, but I believe we got to start kind of affording each other grace. I made, even in my single, life now, I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't know how to express certain things, what I should express. I didn't communicate clearly like I should have communicated. And then, dealing with depression and oppression, it has something to do with that as well, because it puts you on the stage that you hurting, but you don't know how to say you hurting. It's hard to explain unless you dealt with mental health. You won't really understand it. I thank God for liberty and freedom and healing. But sometimes, like, what you want to say in your mind and the way your body feeling don't line up. But I think we need to learn how to start extending grace to each other. More grace, more understanding. Sit down and have a real conversation. And be like, I know you don't want to open up. I know you don't want to, but like, what is really, troubling you? What is really, what's going on? And have grace, for each other. And especially us men, us black men, y'all really don't know what we deal with on a daily basis. I'm not talking about these sorry Negroes. I'm talking about real men who grind, who go get it, who go after it, who doing everything in his power to love his woman, to love his kids, to be a provider, be a protector. We have the whole outside world already against us. Every time we walk out the door, we don't know if we're coming back or not. So when we have an opportunity to come home, our home should be a safe space. It should be a space of solitude. It should be a place of nirvana. It should be, a place of tranquility. It should be a place of peace. And one important thing that women need to learn, and both men, is sometimes just being by your partner and remain silent and be like, I'm here for you when you want to talk. Rub his head, rub his back. Sometimes, man, when we deal with sometimes we just want to be left alone. We want to be questioned 8,000 times and all that. Just let us be. Let us process what we're dealing with. Let us know you there and you got our back and you're going to support us. And let us gradually open up to you. Let us gradually, be able to communicate to. Like, give us some grace. Because, man, it's a lot going on up here as a man. And there's a lot of distractions, a lot of temptations. It's a lot of things being a man, especially being a black man and a good man. So, kind of extend some grace to us, man. Learn us when we tell you we good and we don't want to talk right now. Stop pushing the issue. Let us be. Let us, deal with the deal. Rub us on the head, bring us a glass of water or whatever. If your man drink a glass of Hennessy or whatever it is, here you go, baby. Take off his shoes or something. If you know you got that good man, and just extend some grace, and vice versa. Let your woman vent. Let her vent. She want to vent by work and all that. Just sit there and listen. Now, most time it be about the same thing, and I'm gonna be honest, we don't want to hear it because it's like the same thing. We like, oh, but let that woman vent, man. Let her vent. Throw your little, for real, babe. Oh, they tripping. Oh no, they got you messed up. Kind of, listen but don't listen. I was watching this this show called My Wife and Kids, and Damon Wayans told the guy, when your wife talking, you don't really want to hear because it's about the same thing. All you gotta do be like, is that right? And she'll say something else, you're like, is that right? Say something else, that's right. So that's how we gotta be, brother, sometimes, man. We gotta, is that right? Even though we don't want to hear the same thing, because we know it's gonna be about the same thing. But let that woman vent, let her get it off her chest, and then, she'll be good. But the most important thing, I think we have to start extending grace to each other. And I want to say this: there's only a certain place a woman can raise a man to be. That there's a limit and there's a stopping place. There's only and I had a great mother, but there was only so much that my mom can take me to get me to as a man. The rest had to be my dad. When my dad was absent, it was my coaches who filled in the gap. My brothers were scattered abroad and in prison and stuff like that. So, and I'm the youngest boy, so they weren't as present as, couldn't be, and they was in the streets. But, my coaches fill in the gap. I had great teachers, shout out to Coach T, Coach AD, Coach Mark, Coach Motown, Coach Trumbull, Coach Streeter, Coach House. If I'm missing someone, Twan Vernon. If I'm missing someone, forgive me. But I had, we had some great coaches coming up. Coach Tim, Coach Will, so so the coaches, had to fill those gaps, as being a man and playing sports and stuff made us responsible. They showed us responsibilities. They showed us how to, stay, lined up, and our grades had to be good and all that. So yeah, we had great mothers, but at a certain age and a certain level, it has to be a man. By the time I was 15, that there was really nothing my mom can do in discipline and beatings. That at 15, I'm 5'8", 175 pounds. What a beating's gonna do, or whatever I was. I'm just throwing out. I know I always was a big kid. So there was only so much she can do to get me, to that thing, and all she can do is pray. Even when my grandma passed, and and I wind up, in the streets and doing what I was doing. All she can do is pray, because there is only a certain level of woman. I don't care how great a mother it is. It has to be some man in that kid life, that boy life, to get him to the place of true manhood and understand true manhood, and understand responsibilities, understand how to take care of they families and their wives and their women, and so on and so on, and vice versa for the women. A woman has to show them. I can be the best father in the world, but there are certain things that it takes a woman to be able to, I can show my daughter, hey, this is how he should treat you, da da da. You see how I spoil you, open the door, da da da. But there's still certain things that, it took my mama to teach my sister, my dad or the brothers. We couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So I think, for one thing, we got to understand that we're not enemies, but we're in this together. Black women and black men are the most disrespected people on the planet. So we're in this together. We're not enemies. I need you, you need me. Now, I can't speak for them. I need me a woman. I desire a woman. I desire a wife. I desire to die with, my wife. I desire, so I desire my person, and I wanted to be my person. You know what I'm saying? So I need you, you need me. So we're a team. We should bring our resources together. We should bring our happiness together. We should be able to bring our joy together. We should be able to bring our experiences together and help build one another, and take each other to the next level. A great marriage is one of the best life hacks. It's one of the easiest ways to obtain generational wealth. If I'm bringing my 6 figures and you bringing your 6 figures, and I'm bringing my 700 credit score, you bring your 700 credit score, and I'm taking care of the bills, you take care of the investments, you take care of the trips. You know what I'm saying? You take care when there's something pop up. Oh, we got the money, because why? You've been stacking. I got the bills. That's light work. Mortgage, car, no, I got that. You just stack. You get what I'm saying? And then not even that, but it's a quicker way for both of y'all, to retire early. You ain't got to be working. And guess what? My salary and your salary, we can fund our dream, or entrepreneurship, or your entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? Because that's I love what I do. I love my company. But if my partner, my wife, she has entrepreneurship, then guess what? Now both our salaries while we working, we can fund her entrepreneurship. Now she can step away from, her career or her job, because I'm already taking care of the necessities anyways. So I think we have to extend grace to one another and remember we're in it together. Understand that we're going to make mistakes. We're going to mess up. We're going to say dumb stuff. We're going to say stuff out of the heat of the moment that we don't mean. That's why it's important to just kind of sit down and talk and just breathe before you say something hurt. And one thing that I did learn is it's better to talk on the phone than text. Text can be misconstrued. Text can be interpreted wrong. Text can have the wrong tone. Shout out to my my homie Glow, my friend Glow, because she taught me a lot. I shouldn't have said that, because she gonna get big headed and stuff. But that texting, man, it definitely can be misinterpreted wrong or read wrong, and cause someone to feel some type of way. And the whole time that ain't one even the issue. The whole time that wasn't even what it meant to be. That ain't what you meant to say or what you were saying, and it's reading and you reading, and so it's best to pick up the phone and call. And I learned that it's best to pick up the phone and call and have a conversation and talk it out. Now you can get understanding. And you can say, well, this is what I meant. This is what I was trying to say, and stuff like that. That's very important, man, because we're a team. So let's start extending grace to one another. And I say this: learn how to stay within your means, within your household. Don't let nobody else dictate your household. If your household is 50-50 on the bill, 75-30, 80-20, that's your household. Do what works for your household. Don't let them outside entities, I'm telling you, don't let them get in, number one. Number two, a lot of them be jealous, a lot of them bitter. They single, they want you single. I'm telling you. A lot of them want you man, a lot of them want you woman. I'm telling you. It's a lot of snakes. They like to do backdoor and all that. So do what work for your household. If your man can take care of what he need to take care of, you stack but the most important, do what work for your household. And at least try to take 2 to 3 trips a year together. Somewhere where y'all ain't never been, somewhere you wanted to go. Dinner is great, movies is great, picnics and painting, with a twist at the house and all that. But try to take some trips together, man. It's bigger than your city. The world is bigger than your city. It's bigger than Atlanta, because y'all love to go to Atlanta. It's way more cities and states than Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Denver is beautiful. Philadelphia is beautiful. New York, Washington, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon. The different cities in California, different cities in, and listen, Houston ain't the only place in Texas that's nice and popping. Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth area, San Antonio. Y'all stop going to Houston and Atlanta all the time. Like, come on, black people. Washington, D.C. is really nice. All the museums are free in Washington, D.C. Go to, Washington, Virginia Beach. There's a lot of places, man, that you can go. Then, of course, you got, Jamaica and Bahamas not the only place. You got Costa Rica, you got Ecuador and El Salvador and Panama and, Belize, and you got Hawaii and Trinidad and Tobago and St. Kitts and U.S. Virgin Islands and St. John and St. Martin, and you got a lot of places. So try to, if it was within y'all budget, try to take some trips together, man. Trips together. Take a trip with the kids, and then take a trip by y'allself, and enjoy each other company. We need each other, man. But the most important thing, we need to start extending grace, and try to better communicate with one another. I can raise my hand on that. Communication is big, but try to extend some grace. And one thing I did also learn, try to put yourself in that person's shoes. So try to put yourself in your man's shoes and look at it from his standpoint, and vice versa. Try to put yourself in your woman's shoes and look at it from her standpoint. Then you can be like, okay, I see where you coming from. Okay, I see where you coming from. My apologies. Oh, my apologies. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't look at it from one lens. Try to look at it from multiple lenses, from each other lens, and then you like, okay, now I see. And one thing I do know, your person should be your best friend. You should be able to be vulnerable and tell them everything without the vulnerability being weaponized. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm almost done. Women providing. Providing is just not money. First thing, we supposed to be providing, paying the bills. No, providing means he's supposed to be a protector. That's providing. He's supposed to make you feel safe and keep you protected. That's providing. He's supposed to be the spiritual leader. That's providing. He's supposed to be there for you emotionally. That's providing. Spiritually, that's providing. So it ain't just about money. Understand that when he helping your family members, that's providing. When he allow family members to come stay with y'all, that's providing. When when they take it upon themselves to help your family members, because the kids with school clothes or whatever, that's provide. It ain't just about money all the time. Y'all have to get that out your mind. That is not the only way a man provides. You know what I'm saying? So understand there is many ways that a man provides. You know what I'm saying? When he give you strong counseling, when he give you understanding, when he put boundaries and steer you in a way to let you know you don't just represent yourself, you represent me, you represent us. So when people look upon you, they can say, "Oh, that's Boom Woman. I already know. I ain't gonna try. I need to respect her. I'm gonna look out for her because that's Boom people." You know what I'm saying? Or Winfred people, Fred people, however. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of ways that a man can provide. So stop just looking at the money aspect, because you mess around and miss your Boaz and miss your blessing because you so focused on money. And you got women in relationships with dudes who got plenty of money, but they cheat on them all the time. They beat on them. They talk to them crazy and disrespectful. They never, uplift them. They ain't never there. So stop looking at the money, aspect, and vice versa. Man, don't just look at the image and how she looks. She should be physical attraction is good, but she should be a total package. You get what I'm saying? She should be able to pray for you when you need prayer. She should be able to encourage you when you need encouraging. You know what I'm saying? She's supposed to be able to hold you down and say, "Baby, I got it. I understand, and we gonna get through this." You know what I'm saying? You need that too. A pretty face don't mean nothing if she can't pray, she can't uplift you, she can't hold you down. You know what I'm saying? That what matters. And sometimes, one of my homegirls said, that it's still Naomi's out here. There's still Ruth's out here. But it probably ain't the packaging that you looking for. So, the packaging might be different, but it's that person that you need, so let's extend each other a little grace. I need you, you need me. We in this together, men and women. I love y'all. Be blessed. Please remember, like and subscribe, Man's Corner. I pray I said something that encourage and be a blessing. I love you. And like always, to God be the glory. And this is your host, Boom with the most. Big Pistol, Big Worm. Fred, love y'all. Out.